Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the We the Locals podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Josie.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Abby.
We got Stu pushing buttons over in here in the corner, and our guest tonight is Tom Vasquez. Hi, Tom.
Hi, everyone. How you doing out there?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us. Just a couple of things before we get started. You might realize that we are coming to you on not our normal episode night, and it is a non-live episode. This is a pre-recorded episode. It's your bonus episode for the month of July. Happy July.
Woo!
Yay! So we do would still appreciate if you'd like to contribute to help us keep the lights on. You can donate. So we can't take any Rumble rants or super chats because we are not live, but you can go to our website and donate. If you could also like, share, and subscribe to our channel as well as this episode, send the link out to your family and friends. We would really appreciate it. Again, $50 lets you pick the color of the lights, and except for yellow and yellow and red, $100 lets you turn them yellow or red.
Yeah.
And so also just to put out there, our normal podcast night will be Thursday night. It's our normal night, the third Thursday that we would go live. And we will be doing something different this time. We're going to be hosting a live debate between the two Republican candidates for Palm Beach County Sheriff, Laurel Diaz and Michael Gauger. It's going to be 6 p.m. live on Rumble and YouTube, as well as in person. So if you would like to come and actually watch the debate as part of our audience, we'd love to have you there. It's going to be at the South County Civic Center. At 6 o'clock, we will start. So if you'd like to come, you can come a few minutes early. You'll get a chance to meet both of the candidates, and we'll get to meet you in person as well. We will be there, and we are very excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And
hopefully it's the first of many. I'd love to be able to have it work out where we can do a little bit more. Maybe we can host a big debate, maybe between a Republican and a Democrat.
Ooh, that would be
this fall. So.
Yeah, that would be great. So yeah, so those are my announcements.
We'll put it out there. So hopefully it all goes well and we're able to do more of that in the future.
So give us the support for the night. Show that that's what you want, and we'll be able to do more of it.
Exactly.
So if you like to, again, set your calendars for Thursday 6 o'clock to either come out live in person at the South County Civic Center in Delray Beach, or watch us on YouTube and Rumble. Did I cover everything?
So when we finished up last episode,
Yes.
did any of you guys think for a second we'd be where we are today?
No.
It's been a crazy
week and a half.
It's like a year happened in a week.
and my family was on a trip for 3 days, all crammed into all of this, where I'm like trying to juggle all the news and like keep up with the news and like all of the things that are going. I feel like it's been like 3 weeks in a week.
Yeah.
It's just crazy town. So the latest breaking news that we have, which is a federal news, which you don't usually touch on, but we want to talk about a little bit how it streams down ballot to us, is Joe Biden pulled out of the race. And by the time you're watching this, everyone will have already known that. But how do we think that could affect our down ballot?
I mean, the change at the top of the Democratic ticket could definitely re-energize Dems, depending on who they decide to nominate at their convention in a couple weeks.
Oh my gosh. I wasn't necessarily going to watch that convention, but I think I'm going to pop some popcorn and watch it now. I think it's going to be highly entertaining.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think Biden just kind of lost all steam, so they're not really motivated. So, rumors are that they may, put in Hillary Clinton, something of that nature. So I think that will re-energize their base, actually, and it will make it a little bit tougher for our candidates to get that momentum that they're going to need, especially especially with Broward and Palm Beach County being, Democratic strangholds in a lot of precincts. Yeah. I think it will mobilize them. And so I think it's really important to try to turn up that volume a little bit on the Republican side for those precincts. 10-15% will make a huge difference coming into November. So I think it's going to make us work a little harder.
I think it's interesting because honestly, just from a campaign strategy standpoint, the Democrats are definitely going to have to go with someone with a massive name, massive following, massive funding, because August to November is
quick.
It's not even November. I mean, some places start doing early voting and vote by mails
a month out,
2 months out. Our vote by mails are going to drop. Let's see, our election is November 5th. Our vote by mails are probably going to drop October 20th.
Before that,
before that. I'm sorry, early voting starts October 20th. They're going to drop the end of September.
Weeks before that,
yeah.
So you're
last
talking
week of September,
So you're talking they're going to get a nominee
2 months
in August. They're going to have less than 8 weeks to turn around and run a federal candidate
from now, but
for
even less
a national election. I do not want to be that campaign manager. Let's put it that way. I wouldn't want to be that person.
I think
seems like
I think the
insane.
overarching thing is like, regardless of which side you stand on, like we can't take anything for granted. We
No.
have to earn every vote.
Yep.
We have to go out and work for every vote.
Yep.
And we can't. I think a lot of people have been saying this all week. Like, you cannot wait till Election Day.
No.
Like
You can't even wait till the vote by mails drop. Like
No.
you can't wait till then because it's every day pounding that pavement.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
All right. Anybody got any quick updates before we get starting with Tom here on stuff?
I don't have a whole lot. The RNC convention, so a lot of our delegates, people within our party, were up there for Milwaukee. So that was very interesting. Hopefully, people got to see some of those speeches. And there's a lot of energy within our party. So that's those are good things right now with all of this that's going on. So it's just a great way to continue on that momentum and help us locally. This is where it's so important to get educated on the issues, because the Democrats are going to push name recognition, where if we focus on the issues, we can definitely get more of those votes and get more people.
I have a funny story.
Go ahead.
Real quick. It's just the name recognition. So, our family was in Orlando for a conference this weekend, and it was at this big hotel where there were other events going on while ours was going on. So we had one side of the conference center, and then there was this big ballroom where there was all this other stuff. So last night, my husband and I get off the elevator and we walk by the room. The doors were open for this event that's going on. And I hear, "Hi, I'm Representative blah, 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 blah from the 44th District of Florida." And da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was just like, only me would happen to walk by the room at the time that they have the politicians standing on this stage giving an address to this, like, very, very it seemed very, like, it was a small, like, religious thing. I don't know what exactly it was. Everyone was wearing beautiful Indian costumes. So something, I don't know what it was. But
maybe it was a wedding.
It
Those
wasn't
are
a
fun.
wedding. I was hoping it was a wedding. When I saw some of the signs going, I was hoping it was a wedding because I was going to be like, I'm going in. I'm going to go in and just watch. But it was just so funny because my husband stops and looks at me and he's like, how random is it? The person, when they talk, like, there's probably only one politician on the stage, and I hear her talk as I'm walking by. He's like, no one else in this entire
You can't
convention.
escape it.
No, I wouldn't have. I can't escape it. So it was just really funny because it's like, it's all around us. Like, we're just like absorbing it all the time and just be part of, hopefully that spills out into good results.
I will say, I watched parts of the convention this past week, and it's weird. I've been watching conventions probably since the 90s.
Me too.
And it's like, I actually recognize people in the audience now, which is weird.
So funny because it's so exactly
right.
That's exactly what I was
I'm
telling
like,
my
I
husband.
know people there now.
I know. I was telling Nick when we were watching it, I was like, when I was little, my parents, we'd all get out and watch the convention because we're weird like that. And I was like, and I remember thinking, how do people get to that? I want to go to that. And I'm like, I know people that are at that. Like, it's so weird. It's just a bizarre.
I know the pictures across the screen. I'm like, oh, I know her. Oh, I know him. Oh, there's that person.
I didn't know
I'm
they
like,
were up there.
I'm like texting him, like, hey, I just saw you on TV.
It's crazy.
We did have a representative from the REC, Diane Evans, actually speak at the RNC.
Yes, I
and
saw
she
that.
did an amazing job. She talked about how she would help with the Trump campaign taking out the trash, and now she's helping them take out the trash with taking out Biden in November. So it was great. She did a great job. So kudos to Diane Evans, and thank you for representing South Region very well for the REC and the Trump campaign. So thank you if you're watching.
All right. We got anything, Abby, or should we get
I got
rocking and
nothing.
rolling?
Let's get going.
All right, let's get going.
Let's
Okay,
go.
so Tom,
All right, let's
you
go.
are running for. Why don't you tell us what you're running for?
Yeah, so I am Tom Vasquez for the listening audience out there. I'm running for countywide at large, District 9 for Broward County Public Schools. It's
Okay.
the whole big county out there.
Whole county. So explain. I know we've talked about this, but for our audience who is not familiar with the school board structure for Broward County, how many school board seats are there, and what does it mean that it's at large?
Yeah, great question. So technically, the county's carved up into 7 districts, and then you have 2 at-large districts, right? And so I'm running for one of those,
Okay.
right? So
Is it an open seat, or are you running as an
no?
incumbent?
I have a challenger. I'm
Is
the
the
challenger.
incumbent?
She's the incumbent.
She's the
Her name
incumbent,
is Deborah Hickson.
Okay.
She came into the scene as a result of the MSD situation. She, her family, her husband passed away there. Kind of gave her some name recognition. Everybody saw who she was, and then she went for office and she won. So I'm her challenger.
Okay. So what made you decide to run for office, and why school board?
Oh, great question. Where do we begin with that? Really,
Let's
that's
go.
a deep one right there.
That's what we're here for.
Oh my goodness. Well, okay. So the story really begins a little bit with my family. So I am a retired veteran, retired Marine.
Thank you for your service.
It's an honor and pleasure. Honor and pleasure that I served our people, and I think I have to serve one more time. What happened for me, I was coming up, doing my deployments back and forth, and my son, I was having issues with my son. We didn't understand what was going on, but we went and had him evaluated, and then that day changed everything. We came out, and we were told he's autistic. And we was like, okay, that's devastating. We didn't know what to do with that. We're like, wow, what happens? But that started a life of advocacy for my son. Got really familiar with the process and advocating for public schools in the public school system. Became kind of popular with some of the families because I figured out how we can get services better. And I, adjusting this, adjusting that, and helping families out. And eventually they were like, Tom, you got to run. We need you in that seat. And so I ran for school board before and won. Oh. And I won. So I've served on a school
in
board.
Broward?
In the military public school system. Which is the best, I gotta say. I think it's the best, but statistically, some of the best public schools in the country.
So they're the schools that are on bases?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about that.
It's called that.
They have their own school board.
Oh yes,
and school system.
Yes. It's the technical term is the Department of Defense Education Activity. DODEA is what they call it. What happens, especially on the big bases, you got to kind of be.
So can you give us like what describe like a name of a big base that maybe people
in mines? So since I'm a Marine, I was in the Camp Lejeune, Eastern North Carolina cluster. Okay. And so
and there's Fort Bragg out there, which
Fort Bragg
it's Fort Liberty now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they went through all that. So the bigger bases have school boards because they have 1 or 2 high schools. They have a bunch of elementary schools.
Yeah. How many students do they have in the school system?
Well, we in that time. Oh, you're gonna make me go back.
Sorry, I'm just so curious. I didn't know, I know any of this.
50,000 in that area.
Wow.
Most of them, so it's the student body, but not. I think I want to say we had about a couple thousand, about 10,000 students, maybe ish.
Okay,
somewhere in there.
So is it the board that you were on? Was it for that region, or is it for the whole country? For the
no, it's for that cluster.
For that cluster. Okay.
Of schools, so a bunch of little satellite bases. And
so all the kids who go to school with each other, all of their parents are all in the military.
All together. Military, which is unique because when we start diving into some of the details, you're talking about a community that has no fathers in the home,
right?
Because they're serving, coming and going, or moms.
Mm-hmm.
You have nobody here is rich,
right?
Okay, you want to talk about some stress?
Yeah,
you got some stress going on here, all right? Even when the parent is home, they're not home.
Right.
So this is a very, very austere lifestyle that these kids have to do. And most of those kids have to pick up and go every couple of years.
And are there officers' kids and enlisted people's kids in the same schools together? So is there like a hierarchy too of like my parent is an officer, my parent, blah, blah, blah? There
is, in a sense. So there's so when we have disparity conversations here, I know how to address that here by using our model. Yes, it's true that depending on what community you're in, the officers have most of those kids who go to this school, the lower junior enlisted, most of them will go to that school. So, but it all bubbles up once you start to get into elementary and of course high school. It all pans out that way. So I'm unique, and so I'm sensitive to disparities in communities. We analyze and looked at that, and we can solve those problems. So that's what I'm hoping to solve here once I get to Broward.
So you're going to be pulling a lot of your experience. So how long did you serve on that board? Right.
So for there, when I did that time, that was about a 3-year tour.
Okay.
And then after that, started receiving orders and had to move on. It was a great time there.
And you were elected. It's an elected position.
It's an elected position.
You ran for an elected position.
And elected. Although I gotta admit that we in the military, we don't practice politics per se. All right, in the way that it's done out here, it's mostly just you talk, name rec, a little bit of that, newspaper articles, and then the people make their decision. We don't get partisan, if there's such a thing. We don't do that.
Was the newspaper articles were they slanted one way or another? Or
no,
actually like our local fish wrapper.
Yeah,
our
local fish wrapper. The compost.
Yeah, no,
the compost. The sun slanting.
The Palm Beach compost.
I gotta admit. So to me, I know we go through a lot of struggles here with the media and stuff like that. I gotta admit, so far they've been. I think they've been fair. I'm coming as a nonpartisan.
Right.
I really have no agenda. Yeah, it's a nonpartisan. I'm not.
I will say most of them I think have toned down. At least this election cycle, I'm noticing that they're pretty. They're pretty. I mean, compared to years past, they're coming a little bit more.
Well, I mean, the Palm Beach Post isn't even doing political analysis and endorsements anymore. I read.
Oh, really?
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Someone. I feel like I read that somewhere.
Because they got their funding cut.
They got their funding cut by the county commission. Well, and they were the worst.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Like
I don't
2
think
years
they're
ago.
doing endorsements, but I do believe that they are doing some interviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
all right, so you don't not a lot of partisan politics. Just
No,
you get
no, no.
elected
Yeah,
and
get
you
elected. Did
and
my
then
time.
okay.
My main thing at that time, which is going to be part of this too, is our ESC special needs community. Since my son was autistic, kind of know that feel, how that goes.
What's ESC stand for?
Exceptional student.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically special needs kids.
Okay.
And so make sure that those programs are done right. Make sure those schools are properly staffed. You'd be surprised. A lot of times services don't get provided, not for lack of want, but lack of means.
Which is
Right.
crazy considering the
know-
school board budgets.
I know I
Yeah.
went to one of the town hall meetings last January in District 7. Yeah, my school district's District 7. And they hadn't had it was some sort of ESC instructor or ESC position that they were supposed to have in the District 7 schools. Like, since they hadn't had it all year, and they were halfway through the year.
Yeah, you're gonna find that that's a community that gets left behind very quickly. All right, and it's just they need special advocacy.
and it's a
at all
growing
times.
community. I mean,
It
like
is, and
1
it's-
in 34 boys is diagnosed with autism,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Wow.
It's something that we have to do, and that kind of dovetails a little bit into the larger spectrum when you talk mental health. Although in my personal view, I bucket that in different ways. Right, I have ESC. That's a certain way to do it. Mental health and anxiety type of disorders and stuff. That's a whole nother
Right.
category. But overall, it's that type of service that we got to be there for our kids and our families that they need it. They need it. It's a growing thing.
Okay.
So.
All right, so you decided to run here. So are you from
Yes.
Broward County?
So,
are you from Florida? Or like,
no,
how
yeah,
did
so
you
the
get
story
back here?
continues.
Yes.
The story continues. Okay, so I go ahead and finish my tour, and I get pulled up to the National Capital Region. All right, don't get scared. I could speak swamp. All right? I could speak swamp.
Growing up, a lot of my friends were from North Virginia, and they all worked for defense contractors.
Yes, I know.
All of them did. They worked for Raytheon, and they worked for all my
all
friends.
the big boys.
They worked. That's all. Anybody, if you live in North Virginia or the DC area, that's what you. Especially in the early to mid 2000s, and you got a degree from one of those big fancy universities. They all my friends went to. They all worked for all those companies. All those companies.
I finished out my career up there. I did 8 years up there. So 20 years was romping and stomping, and the last 8 years was speaking swamp. That comes into play.
Okay.
So I finish up that tour, come down here. I've been down here for 5 years now. So I came down here before COVID.
Why'd you guys come here?
Well, because I'm a New York City kid.
Ooh.
And
We won't
Florida's
hold that against
Everybody
Don't hold that
from
against
New
me.
York moves to Florida.
It's because it's,
It's
in the
just
water. It's
yeah.
the Mecca. It's heaven.
It's in the water until you get here, and everyone complains about the water. The water in Brooklyn is so much better. It makes our pizza taste so much better. Sorry.
It's funny. I mean,
I've had a long week. I'm a little tired. My filter's not very good.
Wait, your dad's from Brooklyn, isn't he?
No, he's from Manhattan. But yeah.
oh, I'm from Manhattan.
Yeah.
I'm from
My
Manhattan.
dad's from the upper west side.
That's me.
Really? Where?
Yeah, I'm a 190th Street kid,
Okay,
but
he's a
at
little
Washington
bit lower
Heights.
than that, but yeah.
Yeah, right next to Harlem is a
Okay.
neighborhood. Washington Heights is
He was
where.
he's Jewish. He's from the neighborhood.
Did
It's a little
you
bit
see-
south of there. But
Yeah, no, and my neighbor, that's what it is. It was mostly Irish that was there, and then I'm Dominican heritage. The Dominicans came in there big time. Some Cubans were there too, but the Jewish population. Yeshiva University is right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So he went to one of the yeshivas there, and then he went to school in Bronx. He went to Bronx Science.
Oh, Bronx Science.
Yeah,
Homeboys.
I know. He went to Bronx Science.
So we wind up down here somehow. So I took my turn. I'm down here. All of my familia has made it out. Only my buddies are back in New York, and they just like, oh, what am I gonna finish? I retired. Tom retired earlier, but they're coming down eventually. But yeah, so I'm here for family.
Okay.
And literally, so I had to, mom's like, "Wait, you've been gone for 30 years." I have a very big and loving family.
You're
right?
Latin.
Yeah, everybody's
it is.
familia.
Yeah.
And so, and so we had to come here, and she's like, "No." I was gonna go work up in Orlando. She's like, "No, 30
I was
years."
just
You don't
there.
wanna be in
go up
Orlando.
there. I was there
Yeah.
for 3 days, and I was like, "This is not gonna get me out of here. It's
Yeah.
too hot. It's mug." I just
Yeah, I think the good Lord blessed me, brought
Yeah.
me down. And so I bought a little place 5 minutes from my mom. And then
Okay.
I moved down my in-laws too. So I mean, we built. It's all
you have your
family.
own little like
Compound.
I think
I
it's
love it.
I'm a what is that show back in the day? Everyone loves Raymond. I'm basically that. People
Yeah.
coming in and out the doors, and parents, in-laws, and yeah, I got all that going on.
That's amazing.
And because I got a little baby, so this was
Oh.
yeah, there you go. I don't know if you've seen
Oh
that.
my gosh.
Yeah, that's the little one. She's literally 18 months, and so it's all about baby time and grandparents and why you're not here. And I'm a family guy. I'm a total family guy. Yeah, that's my little.
Oh my gosh. gosh,
So
I
cute.
love these.
Yeah. You know.
Okay, so you're here now.
I'm here now. and
5
I-
years, suffered
5
through COVID.
years, suffered through COVID, but I got picked up from a Wall Street firm,
Okay.
which adds to the story. So if you go back and say, okay, he's a New York City kid, street kid, wasn't doing well, wasn't getting in trouble, somehow found his way, which is part of my story. I actually found my way with one teacher. One teacher really put it to me in a way that I've never heard before. He was a Harlem man. He actually used to roll with the Malcolm X crowd, which allows me an ability to understand different groups, right? So that set me straight. And he was a Marine. And so that was the connection, set me straight, and I never looked back. So I finished all my education, went all the way, graduated college, got my master's, and in the military you have to do various different higher level education schools, command and staff, and the like and all. So I went in as a private, and came out as an officer, retired from the highest levels of the government, and then I come out here and I get picked up by Wall Street Global Bank, and that's the story.
Okay.
Moms that are out there,
Yeah.
you're having trouble with them sons, especially, but true of all children. I made it.
Yeah.
I made it. They need to see an example. A lot of them need to see an example so that I could tell them, oh, yeah, when they tried that line on me, and I realized that's not your friend, and I realized that's not true, I got to show them how I did it so that they can have a chance to.
So there's a chance. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
fathers in the homes, it's one of the biggest
Yes. That's an
problem.
issue. That's an
Lack
issue.
of father is one of the biggest issues that
It is.
we're facing today. You know,
Yeah.
you tear the family down, you tear the society down.
Yep, the breakdown of the nuclear family.
Yeah. So that
Well,
brings
anyway,
it-
on that happy note, no, I'm just kidding. So you're here, and then so you decided to.
I'm a run.
Run.
We're going through some restructures, which helps with the issues that we're having here. I decided to take a little leave, take a little break, and in that I met some people. People were asking me to help out. I actually started helping in the public schools a little bit because of my background, helping some people that wanted me to take a look at certain things. I got appointed to a couple of advisories.
Oh, okay.
So
Which
I'm,
advisory boards are you on?
Two.
Okay.
Very good advisories. The diversity committee. Okay, so I'm part of that diversity committee. Very, very, very good little committee. And then, of course, the ESC committee.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
Which makes
so,
sense.
so I'm in there. I haven't been in there very long. I haven't, but the little time I've been in there, trying to help out with that. I also helped. I was part of the founding of a district-wide PTA
Okay.
for District 5, because if you notice, some of the best schools always have this great PTA
Strong PTA.
Yes, in certain communities it's hard to do that because of the work schedule and the different challenges going on. And so we decided there's a great leader that I met, Aretha Wimbley, if she's out there.
Oh, I know.
Remember?
I'm in
Aretha-
a couple groups that she's in.
Oh, she is fantastic lady, true leader, pioneer. And so we got together, started working a little bit, and just part of her little. her
Now, is
little-
she an ESC champion or is she just the District 5?
She's, I would say, now is the District 5 champion, right?
Yeah.
I mean, anything she does, she champions.
Where's
She's
District
just-
5?
Central Broward.
Yeah,
Okay.
Central Broward,
Which
Lauderhill,
is-
Oakland Park, that kind of area out
Okay.
there. Yeah.
See, I need the names of the cities to know
Yeah.
what's happening there.
There's
Central.
parts of Plantation that are
Parts of
District 5.
Plantation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Lauderhill, Lauderdale Lakes,
Lauderdale.
West Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
Yeah. So, right. So I've been involved with the schools in Broward, so I got a little flavor of this. And I started out, honestly, innocently, and then I got invited to do a town hall. That kind of really put me on the scene a little bit. Yeah, I did a little town hall, and they were like, well, where'd you find this guy? Who is this? And so I started talking, and then surely I got approached. And you'd be surprised when you're talking like different maybe, I don't know, political persuasions. I would say different groups were telling me, Tom, get in there. Tom, we really need to change some things. And so I gave it a couple months of thought, and I said, yeah. Especially what really pushed me forward is two major issues. First was this issue with charter schools. I don't know if you all saw that.
You
Which
talk about
issue?
them not.
They're not paying.
Correct.
I said,
Yeah.
but now you see, I'm a Wall Street guy. Oh, by the way, so I was up in the swamp. I became educated and became an expert in budgets. So those that yeah,
That's a key.
That's
a key
key.
component.
There's one
for
thing that I
a
run
Broward County
budgets.
budget.
No, but I do throw expert for a reason. So my resume, this is what I did.
Right.
Right, and I do that now for our Wall Street firm. So I run programs at a very high level. And so when I heard this, I was like, you have got to be
They're
kidding
not
me.
paying the charter schools.
I
as
said,
they
what,
should.
you have got to be. It's
They
crazy.
haven't in like what? It was
Years.
Like 5-6 years?
How
Yeah.
are the charter schools staying solvent?
Well,
if they're not getting paid.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I'm not a charter school expert. I'm gonna put it that way. And I'm here to advocate for public schools. I will say this: what drew my attention was I looked at that as a lack of leadership.
Right. Yes.
That's how I interpreted that.
Yeah.
Because when I saw, by the way, every other county is doing this. Everyone, law has already been decided. Judges, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It told me, wait a second, we got some serious. That's like a simple decision. The law says do, then you do, but
Right.
they didn't.
And there's no consequences.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
And the person, the school board attorney that is supposed to be somewhat the expert, she waffles. She gives different answers.
That sounds like what the Boca City attorney said. Does.
Yeah. But I will say, like, you were talking about, like, people from different political persuasions were coming in and saying, hey, you should.
Yes.
People recognize competency. People recognize leadership regardless of.
Yeah, and I would throw that out there, too, because I know, you're focused on the politics of things, and you have to do that. The interesting thing about at least Tom and our campaign and Broward County Schools in 2024 right now, I don't feel that at all. Most people, I mean, whether you're Democrat or Republican, when you talk about schools, everybody wants the best thing.
Yes.
Right.
So I throw that out to anybody out there. If you want to have a conversation with someone that maybe you haven't had in a while, or this is a divide, I at least in Broward, you won't be divided on this. Everybody wants to talk. Like, what are you going to do? How does that work? And everybody wants something better. So we can unite around that. I'm a big uniter guy. All right, I'm just I fought for everybody, and so it really pains me the divide. But I'm gonna do my part and try to bridge communities, try to bridge everybody together.
I think regardless, I think all Broward County taxpayers, residents, stakeholders, they're just tired of the constant drama.
Yeah, there's a lot of this. Well, we have a saying, and it's Broward's gonna Broward. Because your sister county up here in Palm Beach County, and I live in Boca, so I'm right on the line.
Boca,
I'm just what are you guys doing?
Yeah. No, it's
what's
bad.
happening?
It's bad.
It's a little crazy pants.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit about the Broward school situation, because you have what's the budget in Broward County?
It's
School
just
Board?
short of $6 billion. You hear different things, but from what I saw, it's under $6 billion. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a major enterprise. It's the largest provider of jobs in the county.
Oh, yeah.
So is Palm Beach
It's the biggest
County School
employer.
Board.
So
School
it's a
district.
big deal. It's a big deal.
And
half of the money you pay on your local taxes goes to them.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, you're
So
welcome.
again, reminder to our audience out there: just because you might not have kids in the school district does not mean that you were not affected by the school district.
Buster ain't getting schooled.
Buster ain't getting schooled. What would be like some of your ideas? What are some of your ideas to help tighten the budget, to make sure that the teachers are getting paid what they need to get paid and still maintain that it's wise spending? So just give me. I mean, I know you're a budget guy, so you could probably get into super deep numbers, but maybe give me like a high level.
I'll tell you.
Tell me like a 5.
Okay. We're going to try and get this out. It's pretty, and I learned this at the Pentagon. Budgeting, like a pro, is really storytelling.
Okay.
It really is storytelling. All right, so I just
Giggle.
gave you the secret. All right?
What do the numbers tell you?
It's storytelling. When you're competing for budgets, it's storytelling.
Well, you got to get them
It's
on your
risk.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, it's risk, it's reward, it's ROI. And you can't tell a good story. You can't do what they should have been doing unless you start with the narrative, or what we call in the professional world, the vision.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Broward County doesn't really have a solid vision in the point of where you can actually strategize and budget. And they don't have that because you don't really have, in my view, the right leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Ergo, why I'm trying to run. You it's time to put a pro in there, someone that's a trained leader, right, to do these type of things.
Sure, you don't want to move to Palm Beach County. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the vision in place. We're gonna help. We just got a new superintendent, and we got to make sure that we're there with him, helping him out to get this vision. I want his success to be there. So if he succeeds, we all succeed. Is my approach. I was asked in a recent panel, well, how are you going to deal with him? And I said, well, I'm just a product of my formation. It's called tough love. I am a Marine. He's going to succeed, but it's going to be tough love. All right? Because that's what we need.
Need accountability.
Accountability and make sure that's
strategy, structure, process.
Structure. So once we get all that at the top of the house, the right documents in place, the right where we're going, the vision and stuff, that actually then it starts to unfold very quickly.
Right.
Then you can start doing what matters. You get your financial targets in place. You get your timelines that you want to hit. Then you can start making good cuts, right? And then your smart cuts. And then it's all about, and I just talked about this here recently because they're going through, again, back to those voters that, I don't have no kids in school. And in fact, they're going to close schools.
Yes.
Yes. So they're close. They're talking about. That was on my
Closing
list of
like
questions.
5, right?
5.
Well,
I've heard anywhere from 5 to 8. Right.
It's all over the map, right?
Yeah.
Which is why that was the final one. I came on the scene really with that one. I started going to every town hall, and that told me they really do not know what they're doing.
Right.
Because you can't go from 40 to 5 to this. And the presentation they rolled out, I was a big constructive criticism, right? I'm constructively criticizing that. I'm trying to help. I'm really trying to help.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to bash. I'm trying to help. Guys, go back. And I got a good relationship with them. And it's like, yeah, they need help. They need help. So, yeah, we got to restructure that. And when we go through this restructure, that's going to have to go over a couple years. I've done them. I think I'm the only guy running in any of the races that's actually done restructures. I've done them at the Pentagon when we had to reduce forces. I've studied it. That's my master's degree in business. So we study that as part of just what you do, because companies always have to restructure. And I'm doing one right now, right? So, they finished, right? We finished the restructure there. Most Fortune 500 companies have done their restructure already. So it's nothing new for me, and we're just going to try to guide it like the pros do.
So basically, take what you've learned from the private sector, public and like in the Defense Department, Department of Defense, but also like in private sectors, and then translate that into. I mean, it's not rocket science.
No.
It's not
And bring us up to where we need to be.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the reason? I know besides mismanagement of funds, do you think that the school choice initiative by the state, HB1, I think it was, that came out last year, has that had an impact on school closures, like on budgets, or is it just really fortuitous timing?
Yeah, I think it's a perfect storm,
Okay.
in my view. But if to restate the answer better, we're declining in enrollment. And
Already. Before HB1.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been good. People are electing to go different ways. I know in Broward County, talking to voters, there is a big sentiment of not liking Tallahassee too much, not trusting there. I got approached by people. They try to like scope me out. Are you a Tallahassee plant? It's like a thing. It's a thing.
A thing?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Tallahassee plants?
I think
you're
there's
coming here to destroy. I'm like, no, I'm not. That's not me.
I think I've said this before. Like, I'm surprised the state hasn't stepped in and taken over the Broward County School Board.
I'm not. That's
just
true.
because of the
Danger.
mismanagement and.
I mean, they fired a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Or yeeted them.
Yeeted them.
Yeeted them.
Oh,
It was that.
Yeah,
It was her. Abby said it first. She
Yeet.
busted out. It was like one of our first or second episodes. I'll never forget this moment. Abby goes, and DeSantis just yeeted those school board members. And Jessica and I were like, we just, cracked up. I almost peed my pants. It was great. So now, yes, yeeted them.
Yeeted them.
And they replaced them, but it's still.
Yeah, that's so funny. I gotta say, you see this little girl right here, right? This is my other daughter right here, right? And that's her word. Because you know what her sport is? Of all the sports, because in my house we have few rules. Everyone has to have a talent. Everyone has to have a sport, and everyone's gonna do their chores. That kind of stuff. Very marine. Right?
I was gonna say.
What is her sport?
So her sport of all sports, and I'm really trying to raise a lady. She's talented. She's a musician. She got all this stuff, and the arts, and they would do deep literature and the classic. I'm into all that stuff, right? And she wants judo.
I love it.
Judo. And so she eats Papa. I'm like, what is this? I don't do that no more. I'm not a Marine. You can tell, but I got to do barbecues now. And so, no. She puts me on the mat and just goes to town.
I love it. Love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's true story. But, Tallahassee, it's going to be an issue. And that's one of my arguments. I said, look, I'm not here to talk about I can't control Tallahassee. And if you want someone to fight Tallahassee, I'll tell you that's a fool's argument in the sense of that you're going to just go to war with the people that control.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your opinions. There's a process for that, the voting process. But while we're here, I intend to win. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is how winning looks like to me. We're going to get our kids back. We're going to get those families back.
Where do you are they in private schools? Are they homeschooling? Like, where are the families who have left the schools?
And that's a great question, because when I started talking about how you do a restructure and what the proper way to do is, of course, you got to involve the family, the community. And I said, business mind, right? And actually, combat. This is how we kind of did Fallujah and Afghanistan a little bit. So you can't make these decisions
in a vacuum.
In a vacuum, or pie the sky, doctor so-and-so way up here telling you how the world should be. That's a mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a mistake. Rookies do that. The way the pros do it is that you go micro-terrain, right, is what the military term to it. So if I'm in a certain district, there's only so many families there, or in the business world, clients. Mm-hmm. and you look at that area alone on its own merits, and those families are choosing either that charter school or that school, and our job now in this area is to beat that school,
Right.
Yeah.
that one. So I need to put policies in place to empower decision making and formulating budgets and all that at the ground, something they're not used to. They like to control from the top.
Yeah.
No. I'm decentralizing, pushing down. And those people that are going to lead success, if it was Tom's perfect world, it's the principals.
Yeah.
The principals know what they need to get those
Yep.
kids from here to here. They haven't taught like that. They don't even think like that.
No.
They,
Nope.
I think, especially in election year, they're just.
You know what they didn't? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's evidenced by the fact that the Principals Association and the Teachers Union and the school board are constantly at odds.
Constantly
Yeah.
at odds. There's a battle there. I mean,
I'm sorry, you said the teachers union?
The Principals Association, with Broward,
Yeah, the
Broward
PBA.
Principals, it's like
And
BPAA.
BPAA,
Yeah. And the BTU, like they are not on the same page whatsoever, but
Yeah.
they're lobbying for two completely different groups, the
Right.
principals and then the
Right.
teachers. But like, there's just, I mean, the principals want, like, they know on the ground what's going on
They know best.
at their schools.
Right.
They know best. They know best. And so I would, as a school board member, as a leader, especially district-wide, so the calling on the leadership role that I would assume, it has to be a much more higher standard of leadership, a much more mature approach. So those are those types of areas that I would want to sit down with everybody and start working the problem.
Yeah.
Working the problem, building relationships. I mean, and just get after it, because I can't have y'all at each other's throats and think we're going to be the best. I'm not coming in here to plug holes in leaky areas. No, I'm trying to win.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be better than your county. I'm trying to be the best. I
want
want to go
we
from.
dropped in ratings, so
I
shouldn't be
don't know.
too
so
I wanna
hard
be the
right
best.
now.
It's not
But
so hard
okay.
to beat us. Our rating dropped from an A to
there
a
you
B
go.
because last year our school what's his name? The superintendent. He his initiative for the teachers was customer service. They had to provide good customer service to the parents. This was right when HB1 went out, and I think his thinking was we need to make sure the parents are happy, make sure everyone's happy, so they keep their kids in the school.
Yeah.
It wasn't about excellence. It wasn't about realness of what was going on, the grades. And in that last year, while he was trying to provide good, literally like customer service, like that's what he was coaching his teachers to do, was like make sure you respond to an email within a certain time frame, make sure that you always use these phrases, or it was very like salesy type situation instead of education based and standards based. We dropped from an A to a B
There you go.
rating in Palm
There
Beach
you go.
County. So
There you go.
customer service is
There
really
you
working out for them.
So when you say as a countywide candidate you're held to a higher standard, does that mean you would not don a pink shirt and go load a bus and go up and heckle at a gubernatorial debate?
Yeah, you won't see Tom Vasquez doing anything like that.
Especially the pink shirt. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, I am very respectful of whatever people believe. I'm not here to do. I'm just here to win. I am here to make these schools better, and these kids, I really come at it from a position that I believe education is transformational.
Yes.
I would not be. There's no way. And me and my friends laugh about this. How did you? What? Are you looking at the detention king of 1986, 7, 8, 9? I mean, what? How did you? But I understand now, and so I gotta give back to these kids, and we could do a lot better. They really, really can, especially since I gotten educated later in life. Right. So I've gone and I've gotten more of my degrees a little bit later. I got a lot of experience, and I see the world in a different way, in a much more deeper way that I think that I would be well served to have known earlier in life. And just want to get them. I fought for them.
Right.
I'm one of those guys. A lot of military guys are like that.
Yeah.
We're coming home, we're retiring, we're looking around. It's like, you gotta be kidding me.
This is what
This is what I put my life on the line
You
for.
got, I'm like, and who's in charge? And you're like, nah. And that's for those military guys out there. Listen, you could keep barbecuing for a little while. I did. The belly's there, but don't get too comfortable. Tom wins this, you're going to get a butt chewing to get out here and get in the game.
Yeah.
Because these guys and gals, they're really top leaders. You gotta, I mean, what I've seen them they're very humble, so they stay low key, but I've seen them activated.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna activate y'all.
Activate. Let's
I'm
go.
gonna activate y'all. These guys and
It's
gals.
so interesting you say that because I just had a conversation with Stuart either earlier today or yesterday that I was like, I wish more military people would get involved in our local politics and schools and like that's the kind of
City councils.
You know,
All
when
that.
when
Oh my
it's
gosh,
like
instead of all
they
these
don't
people who are
like the betterment of society is their only goal. There's nothing that's personal about it. It's we understand things at a government level, you know, like how to protect our, you know, our citizens and so on and so forth. And to actually be that guard against our, you know, government overreach or that government, lack of transparency. I think it really takes our military brothers and sisters to be able to stand up and say, like, look, I have more information than you of how this works, and this is how we make our community and our society better. And so I love that you say that because I definitely think that if we got more people involved that had that military experience, we would see our communities drastically change for the better.
on the local level. Like,
On the
I
local
do
level.
feel like there are a lot of veterans who do run for higher office, like congressional office, and a lot of them do. Which I don't, I'm not disparaging in any way whatsoever. But what I think you seem to be understanding, and our focus of our whole podcast is on the local level is the most important level.
It is.
Because
really
it's, as you said, it's the highest chunk of taxes that we pay. It's the affecting of our future. It affects our daily life over and over again. And I think I echo that sentiment, and I would like to challenge them to consider looking at the local level, school boards, city councils, county commission, and transferring those to that. Yeah, because I feel like it's got to be so disappointing, am I right, to come home and see, like, man, like you just said, who's in charge?
Yeah, this
What?
is not.
You watch some of these
This is incredible.
city council meetings or these mayors, and again, not disparaging them, but some of them you're like, what are you doing?
Well, because nobody was paying attention.
That's
for
what I'm saying.
so long.
You trusted the system. You trusted that if you could go off and defend us overseas and make sure that our enemies, foreign, would be taken care of, that the domestic ones would not be sitting in government.
Exactly. I give you a story of the caliber.
Sorry, I'm just gonna call
A
it.
point on this military said, look at what these guys and gals did. We went to fight these wars.
Endless wars.
We went. And literally, and it's definitely my tour, our enemies, when I show up, I use Afghanistan, but even Iraq was even better. And we're warring. By the time Tom has to come back home to the kids, we broke out in peace. The ones that were shooting us are now drinking chai and showing me what shawarma is. I was like, what is this good stuff?
Shawarma's amazing.
That is amazing
So is
stuff.
chai.
And chai. So how could our enemies and by the end of that tour, we're friends. That's what these people know how to do. They were fighters, ambassadors, teachers. I'll give you another one. In Afghanistan, so think about it. You sent this is the caliber of talent that's out there. We go to Afghanistan, fight wars. We show up. Tom's a family man. It's like, Taliban does not allow the girls. I mean, they don't.
No.
You didn't know that.
No.
They cannot get educated.
I know.
When you're walking down the street, all the women go off the street to clear way for the man, and they huddle and just turn their backs, wait till you pass. That's how.
Wow.
So when Tom and the Americans show up, we're gonna fight because that's what we're here to do. But hey, call back to the schools and see. And we literally help open a school for little girls. That's a true story.
Wow.
And that's what we've done. So I've done that with not by myself. All of us. That's the kind of people that these guys are. So that's my last. Before I win this, I'm coming around and lecturing, getting off the couch, put the grill down, get in the game, get in the game.
Yeah. Communities, put the grill down.
Yeah. No, because we didn't get to eat like we just always training.
You lived on MREs, right?
Yeah, MREs, shawarma every now and again.
Shawarma.
No, it was So, but it's time to get in the game.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Love that.
I love it. I had some more questions. You guys have any questions while I try to remember some of mine?
Go ahead.
Shoot.
Are you trying to remember
I had another one, but I didn't write it down.
Let's see.
So, okay. So the administrative the administrative structure, a lot of the money goes towards the administrative center groups. Does part of your plan and process look at how that's going to be reined in, or how can you talk a little bit about that? Like, not necessarily specifics, but just like where you see that. Is it more, like as bloated as we think it might be, or what's kind of?
talk to the
So
ed a little
again, I
bit.
speak it from the business perspective. Again, you could definitely Google and double check. This is how it normally works. When you try to do a restructure, one of the first things they do is clear the bloat in headquarters, right? Because it's all about getting back to some kind of basic customer-client relationship. Getting back, and what happens in organizations, they have a life cycle of their own, right? And so yes, the more they go up and they get bloated. So when you got to do a restructure, yes, you look at what we call the headquarters, in this area, and you start looking at areas of what we call efficiencies. Now that is a terror word for
Efficiencies in government?
Oh, that means they're coming with a hatchet and they're gonna take my job. But no, it's not.
And when you say administration, you
not.
mean the Casey Wright building?
I'm talking Casey Wright building.
The Crystal Palace?
I'm calling the
What
Crystal
is that?
Palace.
That's the school board building
Oh,
downtown
okay.
Fort Lauderdale.
Headquarters, Yeah. No, and that's not Tom making it up. That's just normal.
Right.
Right, you normally look at your headquarters staff, see what, because the idea is empowerment. Because the whole thing is to be competitive, right? So the only way to be competitive, there's a couple of principles. You got to go faster than the other guy, and this whole conceptual thing. But yeah, that's how it does. We're going to cut where we need to cut. We're going to reinvest where we need to invest, and that requires that strategy, that requires that vision, and we will get clean, lean, and in the Marine Corps, mean, right? We're going to get some grades going. We're going to empower some teachers. There's going to be some very happy teachers. We're going to clear some of that off their plate and get back to the basics. Let's get these scores. Let's get after it. You know, and I would, if I could, but that's basically, does that answer your question? Basically?
Yes, it does.
No. But it's just something else popped up because when I look at competitiveness, one of the first things that I told him, I said, you know, you're doing wrong. But and the first thing you have to do, right, the very first thing you have to do is publish where you went wrong. You have to accept that there's something wrong.
Accountability.
It's self-accountability.
Yeah.
See, so, I mean, this is just part of our DNA back to the military. If you try to fight tomorrow's wars the way you did last, that ain't going to work.
Yeah.
Like, you always have to be accountable to keep changing, keep getting better. And it seems like a reluctance in the culture of the school to think
Yeah.
that why are you immune from what every other business does? You have to be self-accountable. You have to be like, okay, we got to, because if you don't,
Yeah.
the customer, and in this case, the parents, going to hold you accountable. Now you lose.
Right. Well,
Now
and
you
that's what's
lose.
happening is
That's
the
what's
parents are pulling their
happening.
kids.
So you come out day one and say, this is what we've gotten wrong. This is what, you know, we're going to fix and address, and that starts the conversation, right? So you keep moving. One of those things that I believe, since they've never published, I don't know, but I strongly believe, has to do in the area of discipline and safety. One of the things that comes to me that I offer that's very unique of all the candidates, is I'm touting that I'm a safety expert. I'll come back to that. Let me hit this discipline thing. One of the many things, outside of being a father, all right, traditional father, maybe, I don't know, but because I don't know, I got the girls, I can't strike terror in them. No, the boys were different. The boys, I was like, yeah, you get some, right? But the girls, I can't, and they just pop's a goofball. Yeah. But I was trained to do discipline. I am a drill instructor, right? So I understand the principles of discipline. I understand the processes. I actually earned my check with that very topic. So I want to introduce this idea of discipline that I don't really see. I think what they're doing here is punitive, and it's always behind the scenes, or it's too late, I should say. People going through the cracks. Discipline is a good thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think
Providing
that
structure.
I don't
Well,
think that
well,
they
we learn
approach-
we're supposed to learn self-discipline in school by having structure and being held accountable and things of that nature. And I think kind of we got to this point where it's like kind of like everybody kind of gets a free pass, you know? It's like
Yeah.
there's
Get
really
the
no
trophy.
yeah. And so it's like that self, I mean, granted, I had a lot of self-discipline. I raised kind of myself, you know, from a young age. And I'm actually a high school dropout because my school system failed me. So it was like, but if I didn't have my own self-discipline, I'd probably would have been, you know, on drugs, you know, dead in a corner somewhere. But it was like, so many of our children are so smart and they take in so much information that we treat them like they don't know anything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is it's like sometimes I learn more from my kids than I do from anything else, you know, because it's like their perspective, the way that they look at the world needs to be honored in a way, but they need to look to us to like rein in that self-discipline and be able to understand where that comes from. And that's something that I think that we've lacked in school for a long time. And I think, when I was in school, discipline, wasn't necessarily, a good thing. I think I remember being spanked in elementary school from my principal, things of that nature. And then it's like, it was child abuse, and things of that. And I don't recommend hitting children by any means. I know it just made me more rebellious.
Oh, he was a firecracker over there. You was just
You're just like
feisty. Feisty.
Yeah, I'm like, no. I'm like, I took all my credits. I'm like, you want me to take wood shop? Nope, I'm done.
Yeah.
See you later. Somebody like me wasn't very well harnessed in the school system, and I think that's where I think our school boards got. I think they got shy because they didn't want to. There was this stigma of child abuse and that you can't discipline anymore.
Well, and they became scared of parents. So
Correct.
when my husband and I were dating, he was considering he was going to go back to school because he'd taken a few years off, and he was considering going back to get an education degree because he loves teaching, he loves working with kids. I talked him out of it because I know his personality, and he wouldn't have made it because he wouldn't have been able to deal with the parents. He would have been like, no, I'm not. I just know it would, I'm glad I did because he would have been. He's great. I think he would have been great with the kids, and he would have been great with all that. He would not have been able to handle dealing with parents. Oh, you talked not nicely to my precious Johnny.
Yeah, I don't think teachers are taught how to hold parents responsible.
Right.
That's the thing, because they're like, well, I pay your salary and you have to do what I say because I'm the parent, and that doesn't help us.
It's not a partnership anymore.
Exactly.
It's now against each other.
You just hit the word. One of the things that we do very well, back to the previous experiences in the military, is that partnership.
Yep.
So we have a definite brotherhood type of attitude amongst families, especially when you're overseas. I'm gonna watch your family. That is the part that is missing here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They think that and I don't want to blame anybody for it, because sometimes if you go into these schools as a parent and you're not getting the answers, and you see some headlines or you heard from there's a lack of trust.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
There's
a lack of trust.
And honestly, there's reason for it. There
There's
are some
reason for
crazy things happening in the schools.
Which is why I'm saying you gotta vote for me.
I love it.
I'm gonna bring trust and credibility back.
I'm
gonna talk to parents. I gotta bridge them back, because they're not gonna have trust unless they trust you.
You have to take time.
They have to trust you
right.
and work together and build those relationships. Again, if I could do it with our literal enemies, I think we can handle a little bit of our here at Broward, right?
Yeah.
I just put me in the game, ready to go to work.
I love how the school board in this scenario is kind of like that bridge between the principals and the union. They should be more of that, bringing everything together, being that voice for the parents, but also keeping those entities in check.
Yeah, and I have a few ways to handle that, since I've worked in bureaucracies a long time, so I understand how to do that. But I tell them, that my little vision for it is that everyone who has a stake in this, we're all in the same boat. Grab an oar and start rowing in the same direction. All right? To my cadence, right? Go. Stroke, stroke. We're all going to keep going. And then when we get to the finish, I'll be like, wow, we did this as a team. I know. Isn't that wonderful?
Isn't that great? Good job, everyone.
We could do that. Yeah, high fives for everybody. Right?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
We got to get back to this, and so that's why I'm putting it out there like that. But but back to the discipline thing, last thing on discipline. So one of the things that I'm hoping to do, since I was that kid, and I now know from where the angle I'm coming from, is instead of the discipline attitudes that we have, the gunshot, it's a lot of cover your CYA kind of thing.
Yeah.
But no, that's what it's punitive. It's not transformative. It doesn't really show that you believe in this kid. I'm here because they didn't quit on me when I was that way. And so I would put in, I know we have alternative schools when they get too crazy or in their opinion, but I would make leadership school. You're a kid, you're on the wrist, they're calling you names and they're labeling you, get in Tom Vasquez leadership school. When we're done with you, you ain't going to be a problem no more.
I love that. I love empowerment.
You got to empower those kids. There's good in those kids. And you know why? No, this is true. So, I don't know. Look at those kids. To be a troublemaker, speaking self,
I can relate.
It takes guts. Are you going to come in and be feisty today? Okay. Guts is good. You got to be clever. You got to be able to analyze, read, quick feed it, quick. Like this, you got to be that way. You come up with these schemes, right? That's it. That's ingenuity. That's it. Usually,
play to their strengths.
Right? No, usually, you and be able to pull off some crazy stuff. You got to have some friendships. You can make some loyalties. Those are qualities of top CEOs. Did you know that's how we selected our astronauts in the astronaut program? Read the right stuff. Oh, yeah. It was the pilots. But what pilots got the job? The ones that were just a bit edgy. The ones that are a bit crazy. The ones that were like, well, I might lose my career, but I'm going to buzz this tower, right? And there is a place for everybody, right? There's a place. So moms, dads, teachers, don't quit on those kids. We're going to get there. Let me get up in this chair. We're going to develop programs to pull out of them what's good in them and make them future leaders. Yeah.
So I have actually questions about that when it comes to the programs and it comes to the education. So there are a few things that, I'm working with a candidate who's looking at the state level, and his background is in construction and trades. Right. And he said he's had struggles because kids coming out of the school know nothing. Not only is their education not that great when it comes to just the basics, they're not getting an education on how to function in the world. Yeah. And our schools right now have so much incentive to send the kids to higher education, which I know that there's a place for that. But some kids are not cut out for higher education, especially at 18. Like, you don't know our current structure of sending kids to college. You graduate, you go to college, you get into a good college, and you go. Whether you know what you want to do or not, you just do it. You take out $150,000 in loans, and that's what you're supposed to do. It's not working. Like, I'm a millennial. I'm an elder millennial. It's not working so well for my generation. It's not really working great for the generation behind me, the Gen Zers, older Gen Zers who are now 27 years old, $150,000 in debt and a degree in Bachelor of Arts in Literature. Women's studies. But I'm not even talking the loopy ones. I'm talking even real ones. You get I don't know what I want to do, so I'm going to get a degree in English, but I have my degree. Yeah. Well, now what do you do with that?
Yeah. There's a whole song about that from Broadway. What do you do with a BA in English?
Right, exactly. So some people who would not necessarily need to be going to higher education, but they're not the troublemakers either. Right. Because a lot of times they do take troublemaker kids and say, okay, you need to go to trade school. Right. Like, that's what you do. But there is a space for the trade schools for kids who are not the troublemaker kids, also the kids who are not I'm not ready to go to college. I don't know what I want to do with my life. And I would like to know if you have ideas, because there's a school I read about in Dallas where the bottom floor of the school is leased to businesses. They have bays where the businesses are, and then the top floor of the school is the school, and then there's a partnership between the businesses and the high school students for internships and programs to help teach them how to run the businesses. And then the last thing I'm going to say before I pass the question off to you is currently here in Palm Beach County, for every 5 people retiring from the skilled labor, so plumbers, HVAC, all of the electricians, the necessary jobs that we have that we now are paying more and more money for, we have 1 entering.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's going to be a problem. So if you think you're paying a lot right now to get your air conditioning fixed on a Saturday, you just wait another about 5 years, 10 years, and you're going to be paying 3 times the amount because they'll be able to charge whatever they want to come out. So that's a long question.
A lot packed in there, but I'm ready to give it a go.
So what's your thoughts on all of that stuff?
Okay, let's unpack it. Okay, first of all, in general, I am in the yes camp of the direction this is going.
Okay.
Background?
Yeah.
My father started working 3 jobs, streets of New York City. He's an immigrant. He's a true patriot, as most people, when they come here, they come here, we'll say the right way.
Yeah.
All right, they come here, they want to give back. All right, they want to give back to true patriots. So all of the boys in the family all went into the service, one right after the other. There's 9 servicemen, but 8 Marines, right? We all went in back to back to back to back to back.
It's amazing.
It's the patriotism. But he made it. He small business. He opened a small business with a Jewish man. All right, in New York, they had their business. They did very well for themselves.
What kind of business? Just out of curiosity.
Out of curiosity, lighting. In New York, every company has to get contracts, and they did major buildings, and they did very well. So that's that story. Right. I just told you I didn't get to my education. Even though I became an officer, they brought me under a special program where you're qualified enough that you have the skills to lead and do all that. Just make sure you take care of your education in time, right? So we did that. So I got educated later. So for me, it's a very unique perspective. So I came out of the Gen X, I guess is what we are. I guess we're the last of the Mohicans, the 70s, 80s kids that screen world.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
85, so I'm an elder
count.
millennial. I
Oh,
can't.
yeah,
I'm
you
in.
count.
I'm on the cusp. But
yeah.
I identify as Gen X as an 81 baby.
81. Yeah, you're in the club. You're in the club. Especially if like you have like a family or a sister, older brother.
yeah, I have two siblings that are
Then you're in
hardcore
the
Gen
club.
Xers.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're still there. And then I'm going to school and higher education later. I
So you went with the
"Are
millennials."
and I was like, what are you talking about? And I actually, anyway. So my point is,
Story time.
I went all the way on a high school education. It was a good one. And so I believe in, what happened was something culturally got in there that told you that somehow if you don't get a college degree, you're something less.
Yeah.
Right.
You are out of, you crazy.
I don't have a college degree. I've been told you didn't go to college. Nope, didn't go to college.
And I have hired, fired, opened things. And I'm going to just tell you, there's a difference between doers
Yeah.
and talkers. That's what we need to get at. And if you're going to be a doer, whatever that looks like, but you'll find most doers tend to go into different fields than just I'm gonna keep going up the track of college. Because even when you get the other thing, which I'm all for, is that's one of the ideas I've been touting, that I want to get in there to create something along the lines of a tunnel to talent. Since I'm coming out of corporate America, and I see across the world, by the way, my region is Latin America. So the Wall Street guys actually know a lot more than they say. You can really look out and say, oh my gosh, at this year, this is going to happen and all that. So you can see everything coming. When I say I want to win, I'm not talking, again, I want to win. I want Broward like, holy moly, we're cutting edge type of stuff. And you got to lean out ahead. So I wanted to create a tunnel of talent where we can get industry leaders, start local, but we can get some bigger guys to come on out, especially robotics and that type of stuff, really start working. Because what's the problem when you have a college degree? What do they tell you? The Gen, what are we at? Z's or whatever? I got no experience.
They've
Right.
That's my point. They turn 27.
Now with Broward County school kids, when I get up in there, because we're going to go to work. Since you can't sit around the house and get in trouble, right? We're going to get you out there. Mom going to be happy because, you know, they're getting that experience and we're going to tunnel them. Everybody wins. But you got to have someone who could talk at those different levels, gain the trust, and try doing these pilots. So I'm definitely for the tech. I'm definitely for restoring the honor that comes with an honest day's
Yeah.
Yeah, like
wage.
working with your hand, like doing something,
Doing
creating
something.
something, making something happen.
I go back, you know, and I'm going to get a little bit to the Christian world. Today is the Lord's Day, right? The unregular
It
day.
is Sunday, yep.
And when God decided to become one of us, he was a worker
He's a
with his
carpenter.
hands.
Carpenter.
That should tell you so. He wasn't one of the scribes.
He wasn't
He
a
said, "Don't listen to
Pharisee."
those dudes. Get here and get some." There's
Yeah.
something guarding and tending. There's something really good.
Well, I think that's that connection to our earth, right? You know, is to create and to harness that power that the earth gives us with our human spirit and connection to God that really helps us make this world a better place. Instead, I think we end up circling in this rat race that we're just on the hamster wheel, and everybody has the ability to get off, but everybody's too afraid to at the same time. And I think empowering children is where we change that trajectory, is to give that power back to our kids to a certain level. You know, I was a parent, you know, one of the many things I do as a parenting coach. You know, I helped coach parents, you know, with troubled children. And it's like, when you understand when you are a parent and you have a child that's acting out, you have to look at yourself. You know, you can point at that child all you want, but it's like you have to look at the fingers that are pointing back at you. And if you don't take any self accountability and responsibility in empowering your children and having your children trust you and have that trust, you know, like my daughter now who's 21 is like, "Mom, you're being a little crazy." And I'm like, oh yeah, I am, you know, and it was like, you know, like if I would have said that to my mom, I would have been backhanded, you know.
You know what they say in the Spanish world?
Yeah.
Chancleta.
Chancleta.
That's
I
What?
was gonna say chancleta like this.
Yeah, that's what you get. What did he say? Hold up.
I may not be Latin, but I grew up in South Florida.
You know about it. You know about it. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so it's like so you know, it's like our first, you know, by empowering our children and empowering them that like I was always like, you want to go to college with my kids? I'm like, that's great. I'm not paying for it. You're on your own. If that's what you want to do, I'm totally for that and I support you. But, you know, like I didn't go to college and I'm okay, you know, and I have a good job and can take care of ourselves and all of that kind of stuff. But it's like, we need to empower our children to be themselves, whatever that is,
Exactly.
because they are unique to themselves.
Yeah.
My
And-
goodness, that's beautiful.
And that I think is what our school system has lacked for a really long time.
Constantly. What do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
What do you want to be when you grow up? What do you
Yeah,
like?
yeah,
They
put it on them like
they're like, what do you want to be when you? And like, so we talk about that, and I agree because I'm like, you don't. And so we hone it sometimes, and we're like, and that's okay. You don't have to decide what you want to be right now. What do you like to do? What are your passions? Where do you want to grow? What do you
Yeah.
want to pursue? What do you want to learn? Like, I was homeschooled, so my approach to education is a little
my
bit
wife
different.
was too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
We're very.
So I
unique
get it.
breed.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
So my approach to education is a bit different because we did traditional education, but we also were like, my mom would be like, all right, we're going to go to the museum today, and that's what we're going to
Yeah,
do
that's
for
pretty
our
good.
lessons. And we would go, and one of the reasons I ask so many questions is because she'd always be like, I have questions. Like at any tour, she'd be like,
It sounds
"What-"
like you.
I know. But then she would turn to us and be like, what questions do you have?
Yeah.
And we'd all be like, I guess I gotta come up with some questions. So I gotta ask a question. And so like
Yeah.
we were trained to like look around and come up with like good questions to question the world that we were being taught or the world that we were being given. And so I approach that too. So like my kids now go to a private Christian school, and they have a huge emphasis on grades and stuff, and I'm just always telling them, like, I don't really care what your grades are. Grades are just, grades are just a measurement of where you are, and if your
It's
grades are
Snapchat.
not doing well, that means we need to focus on spend a little more time working. And I want you to enjoy the process of learning. I want you to want to learn how to read because you want to go read all the books in the world, not because you have to pass a certain
Right.
number of tests.
Yeah.
And so like and so I would love to see like that's more where I think education needs to go, is to making sure that we're empowering children to want to learn to love it. That way they'll continue doing it for the rest of their life, and it's not like I go to school, I do my and then I'm done educating. Because learning is a constant
It's a
lifelong
constant
process.
You see, right? You know, I just got asked this the other day. I was on a panel, and they asked, and there's some homeschool influence in that. What is education? Define education. And I was like, really? Okay. So I told them, I said, education, when you look at the Latin root of that word, is educere. It means to bring out the best from within somebody. Then I said, and then I added this, more to your point. Remember, I was a very bad kid, but I learned. I got a master's. I learned, and I looked at the histories, and I've learned and very deep into history. And you should know that who agrees with you is Aristotle. When they asked him, what's the purpose of education? He said, eudaimonia. It's Greek. It means the purpose of education is human flourishing. It's more in line with what she's saying. What we have now is more like a factory building block
Yep.
approach to spit
Yeah.
you out into corporate America so they can have, all, which is what is you're meant to do. Go to college so you can go into corporate America and fill these jobs, which, by the way, they're giving away. I'm inside corporate America, and I'm telling you, all right? So they're moving it around and stuff, so it's not working for us. What it should go back to, which if I was a teacher, I'd want to hear, which is what I believe, human flourishing.
Human
Yeah.
flourishing. I love that.
You
Yeah.
are a gift, what you're saying.
Yes.
I don't look as a person. They're more than a grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's exactly.
They're more than a grade, and they have special gifts and talents. The art and science of teaching is bringing out what's best in that person so they can make their way in the world. And so I'm more to that, less than just a process, get them to corporate America pipeline. That's not how I think.
The basic fundamentals of education of reading, writing, and arithmetic actually set us up for our own personal flourishing and empowerment and what freedom means to us as individuals, because we have that basic structure of reading, writing, arithmetic, that those crucial skills when it comes to making decisions about ourselves. And I don't think we give our children enough credit to be able to make those decisions.
That's right.
We take it away from them so quickly. Oh, you don't know, you're not experienced, you don't get it. But I think that, Spirit God moves through us in all different kinds of ways, and we get an opportunity to thrive that through our children. When you see a child that has a unique gift or even a struggle, you can actually turn that empowerment up to benefit them in such a way that they can catapult to such great heights. And I don't think that we instill that enough in our local in our school system.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so that point, so quick story on my son, who's autistic. Well, how did the story end?
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna ask.
How did the story end? We went K through 12, and oh my gosh, and we had great teachers, great ESCT, special needs, speech therapy, and all that. And finished K through 12, went and got his associates. So he went all the way as far as that. And back to the point. But he opened a business.
Oh.
They got a little family business, him and his brother. All right, and they got and what it is, what's the autistic very good at is structure and focus. So he's got a barbershop where military guys and we gotta get haircuts every week, and he's raking it up right now.
Oh my
And
gosh,
so
sure.
he's like, shoot. He's got his clientele. He's up because he's very precise. He's very
Yep.
focused. It's his gift.
Yeah.
That's
It's
right.
his gift. You wouldn't have otherwise known that if your worldview is I got to get to college and graduate from this
Yes.
fraternity to that,
Exactly.
or I'm not successful. That's not true.
That's
That's
right.
not true.
Exactly. It's
So-
true. I told my middle daughter, so she wants to, she's to this day, when she was little, she randomly decided she wants to be a doctor and a ballet dancer. And so she's still, what do you want? You know, when people ask her, I don't always ask her. People ask her, she's like, I want to be a doctor. So one day I was like, well, what kind of doctor? She's like, well, what do you mean? I was like, well, you know, we go to the pediatrician. That's a doctor who works with kids. There's doctors who do this and work with feet and who work with heads who deliver babies. I want to deliver babies. And I said, well, you know what? You don't have to be a doctor to deliver babies, just so you know. You can become a midwife and you can deliver babies.
That's true.
And I was like, so just so you know, as you're thinking about things you want to do, there are options. You don't have to do it one way or another. Just so I can kind of plant that seed. She's only 8, so, you know, who knows. But like to put that, to counteract the, what do you want to be when you grow up? What college do you want to go to? And if they want to, if my kids grow up and they're like, this is what I want to be an engineer. I want to be an OB. I want to go to med school. Okay, well, that's fine. But to know that there are options out there. And if you want to deliver babies and that's what you want to do, you don't have to go through 7 years of school, 4 years of residency to deliver babies. There's programs where you can do that. So like to just, and so I don't know, I'm kind of getting a little soapboxy, but like I just think it's, I love to see that that's where our elected leaders who are looking at education are looking at it as a way to empower and strengthen our future as opposed to put them in these boxes and do the Rothschild method of putting them in the boxes, which is where that education program comes from, as it comes from the Rothschild. So I read an interesting book. It's called, and now I can't remember, I can picture the cover of it, and I can't remember the name of it. It talks about, the guy was like a high award-winning educator in New York, and he wrote a book about the education model and how it changed in the 60s, and like when that's when it really became very like the cookie cutter, like like not experimentation, what's the word? Like
Assembly line.
Assembly line.
Thank you. That's
It
the
was
word. I'm
very
like, I'm picturing the line going. Assembly line.
line.
Assembly line. And so it's just really cool to see like someone looking at it from maybe like these are the ways we want to try to move forward with education into the.
Do you find other have you spoken to other school board members? Are they open to what your thought process is, your ideas? Are they encouraged by this envision that you have?
So as I'm learning politicking, I guess, and again, for those out there,
Such a fun game.
I am not a politician, even though I'm in this role. I am just a serviceman. Okay, I'm just a serviceman. I don't.
That's what our politicians should be.
I'm here, sir, and I'm a servant leader and that kind of thing. But I understand that language and communication relationships change after elections. All right, that's what I think is happening. Thus far, I would say like I said, I've been well received. I can't say that for everybody. This is a relationship game, but everyone has been very cordial to me, and I try to be cordial to everybody. I have no ill will to no one, and I'm here to work with whoever is here to do whatever. But I've been persuasive. I think I've been persuasive with certain voices, and I think that once they see if Tom gets there, I think we'll be open to new ideas. I think so. I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
I like that. I do have one more question. I think on the amendments, right? We have an amendment for the Florida Constitution to change school board races to be from nonpartisan to partisan races. What is your, obviously it's going to go to the voter, but what's your kind of thought process or opinion on that? And how would that change things if you were running in that type of race? Or would it?
Well, I come from, what's the generation? X, right?
Yeah.
I come from a world, I guess, the last of the Mohicans, where you didn't know what political persuasion your teacher was.
Right.
Yeah.
I come from a long line of service, 30 years, and up until maybe recently, nobody even knew if you was a Republican, Democrat. That didn't exist.
Right.
So I come from a world that used to be, our institutions are not political.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's you and the voters and the leadership can be, but not the institution itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's how it was formed. That's kind of where I'm at. I think if we're going to get back to where we want to be, I want to win. I don't need that noise.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that noise. These are our kids. You can believe whatever you want to believe with your worldview. It doesn't matter. And you could try it. Like I said, go home, try talk to someone on the other aisle or whatever, and they'll listen to you when it comes to schools. And I think that's good. But I don't control it. We'll see what happens. We'll deal with it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some good reason that someone thinks to doing that, and sure there's a yay to it and nay. But personally, I just want to leave the kids out of that. Let the kids go through K through 12, and families go through, and then once they get to college, that's probably the best time to now be introduced. Once you've been formed correctly, how to read, write, and read, so you can know who's playing you and
know
not
the
playing you.
basics of your civil,
And know the basics so
yeah.
that you could evaluate. Because if you're not educated, which we're not giving them,
Right.
then you could become played, as they say in the streets.
Yeah.
They're
As they
not
say.
taught how to think and critically think.
Critically think, and then they're
Critically
going to run
think
game
is
on
key.
you, is what they say in
And
the
take their
streets.
self-governance seriously. I think if
Yeah.
we taught that more in schools, we wouldn't have so much of a political divide because of the fact that people would be educated. They'd understand how our civic society works and how to be able to kind of, if you want something done, move those political levers in the way that works in your favor by using, the basics of self-governance.
Yeah.
I think it's important, like community engagement. So here's an example. I talked on our last episode. We're having a developer I live in Boca. So the developer wants to develop a shopping center that we all use every day. There's a Publix in there and some local family businesses, gym, it's our little community shopping center. And the developer wants to move the Publix to the other side of the shopping center, knock down half the shopping center, and put up townhouses, 5-story complexes. And we have really bad traffic problems in Boca, and we're all like, this would not be great. So they're holding community meetings for the community to connect with what's going on. So I wanted to go. My husband wanted to go, so we brought our kids with us. And I was like, they don't understand everything that's going on. They're younger. They're younger than 10. But we want to be engaged in what's happening in our community and use our voices to understand and speak up, whether for good, bad, or work with the developer. Say, what can we do to make this a better project for all of us? Mm-hmm. And so we take them to all these things so that they can see us being active in our civic community, so that it teaches them that even if they don't always know the right answer, to go seek it. Yeah. To let's go be a part of it, instead of just being like, well, someone else will handle it and someone else will deal with it, which is what a lot of I think our kids now are in the place they don't know. They don't know because the parents don't. Parents are like, someone else will handle it. Someone else will take care of it.
Yeah, there's a certain approach. I guess it's a lost art. Again, back to the Last of the Mohicans. There is something about child stories. Mm-hmm. All right, even from the nursery rhymes. All right, the idea is to introduce you to evils, the different masks that evil takes place. Mm-hmm. That's when, once upon a time we used to tell stories. Let them have their fantasy period, because this is how you learn. Mm-hmm. When you start learning, we read Lord of the Rings, and you see the after power. Yeah. And then the elves were turned into orcs. Mm-hmm. And then you start having these conversations at the dinner table. We all are like that. Mm-hmm. We all have a higher destiny.
Tolkien was brilliant.
Yes, but you can turn in very ugly. Mm-hmm. And ugly doesn't know it's ugly.
That's right.
That's why you get into conflict. So so I'm back to the traditional education.
If evil has a human face and full of good intentions.
There you go. But you won't. But you learn that through or you get exposed to that through your classical childhood stories. Mm-hmm. Reading.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so again, I throw that out. We gotta get. This is why I want to clear it out.
Yeah.
If I had my control of the world, it would be classical education, K through 12, because Broward's gonna win, and we're gonna go to the class. We're gonna teach our kids and expose them in all these wonderful things to get them going better than we have. That's what I want to do.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
That's awesome.
Okay, so let's go to as far as the race goes. Your election day is on what day?
So election day is August 20th. Early voting starts August 10th. It's a Saturday. Right now, ballots are being received all over Broward, and I'm asking for your vote out there. So if you got that vote by mail, if it hasn't hit you, it's coming. Yeah, all right, it's coming, and they're pushing them out a little bit. And so it's on. Votes are coming in now.
Yep. All right, and so you'll be on every ballot in Broward County.
Everywhere.
All over for that school board race on August 20th.
Yes, man.
And then how can people find out more about you? What's your website, your social media?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way to do this is go to Vasquez, SVASQUEZ, number 4, schoolboard.com. You go out there, you learn a lot about me. You can click right onto my social media. Please follow us on social media. We're doing a lot of work out there. If you want to get involved, there's a contact page. Reach out to us. Someone will get to you, either myself personally, which I do 90% of those, but we'll get in contact with you. We want feedback. It's time for you take your school back. All right, it's time. You may have felt that, it's them versus us, not with me. So you drive the train, okay? And because I know that's where the knowledge is. That's what we need to fix. So please reach out, contact. I'm very approachable, and we're going to get our schools right.
Are you door knocking, donations, all that kind of stuff? So if people want to volunteer for door knocking, donate to the campaign, all that can be done
all
through
that's
the website.
on the way. Just there's a volunteer page. Just get on there, help us out. We're asking for we need some phone bankers, definitely. That will help with canvassing pretty much every day now. We're out there all the time.
Chasing those vote by mail ballots.
Yeah, we're out there doing it, and so it's going pretty well. I do want to put another point out there unique to this campaign, Tom's campaign. I'm about, I want to say 90% self-funded. Okay, this is an expensive game, by the way. It's a big
county.
It's a big county, but and I say that because there's certain communities that need to hear that, because what that means is I'm beholden to no one. I can go talk to whoever I want, do whatever I want. I'm strictly my boss. No one's donating to me. No big companies that do business. None of that. It's self-funded. I am freely yours. If you would have me, I work for you. And so they should know that.
I love that.
And we'll drop your website in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
All right. Is there anything else you want to shout out before? Anybody got any other questions? Sorry, I didn't mean to
I think that was
a
good episode.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining us.
you.
It was
That
so
was
great to get
great.
to know you.
Awesome.
So yeah, if you want to shout out anything else, I mean, you kind of close it off. But
Just thank you for the support that we've gotten so far. I want to, if there's a shout out, I want to send out a shout out to all the churches. Today's the Lord's Day. You're out there worshiping. We need you. We need you. Our kids need you. If your kids are out of school, I want to send a shout out to you. We need our elders back in society. Believe me, we need you. You got to get involved, be out here. And a little shout out to those que hablan español. Para que sepan, yo soy el único que puede hablar español en esta carrera. So, vamos a tener representación si ganamos. So, por favor, let me get your support out there so we can, get in the game as well.
I love it.
All right.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you, Tom, for coming in this afternoon and giving us some more information. I look forward to hearing more from you. Be sure to vote August on or before August 20th, and make sure that you're getting your mail-in ballots in. Don't forget, we are going to be live on Thursday, the 25th at 6 p.m. We're having our sheriff's debate between Lauro Diaz and Michael Gauger. So we look forward to having you there. Please come in person if you can at the South County Civic Center in Delray Beach. You can check out our website at WeTheLocalsPodcast.com. There's more information about that. If you have questions for our debate on Thursday or for Tom, we'll make sure to get them to him. So be sure to check us out there. You can check us out on We The Locals FL and Instagram and on X, and We The Locals on Facebook. Don't hesitate to email us any of questions, concerns, WeTheLocalsFL@gmail.com. Have a great night, everybody, and be sure to stay local.
Bye.
Bye.